Last time we were watching a video on the different smells in America, and you guys were laughing at me because I was like, how did a skunk get inside a car? Because he was telling us that they were driving and suddenly the car started smelling very bad from the inside, and but he didn't specify like how, but just said that it's the smell of a skunk. But apparently, if you hit a skunk with your car, the smell gets inside as well of the car, which I did not know. I've never seen a skunk in real life. I don't think we even have them here, or at least I have never seen one. So that's why I didn't know. But I wonder what it smells like. But apparently, it smells very bad and very far away. So that's nice. But today we are going to be watching I Only Heard These Sounds After Moving to America. So sounds that you can only hear in America, I guess. I don't know. I can say like in Finland a distinctive sound in Helsinki especially are the not the train the trams that go like on in the city. I remember where we have our apartment in Finland where I grew up, like as a very very small child. In my room, like on outside my window, there's like a tram station, so I would hear that throughout the night. I don't know why, but it was like a calming sound for me. And then also the sound of seagulls. In Helsinki, you hear a lot of seagulls. And here where I live now, there's a lot of boats. Because I live near the ocean, so you can hear the horns in the morning. So I would say that's like a distinctive sound here that I haven't heard anywhere else. And apart from that, well, I don't know. I don't know. Here, like specifically where I live, you just hear a lot of people screaming at night. So yeah. But let's see what America sounds like. I'm excited, guys.
Hello. For some reason, I woke up next to a tree this morning, and that reason could be because I couldn't get to sleep in my actual bed because for the first time in as many days, it was autumn. And that meant that my bedroom was completely silent, and you might be watching this thinking, I'm really confused right now, and if you are, that you could be British. Because in America, for the most part, your bedroom and most of the rooms in the house, especially in the summertime, are not silent. There's this little thing called white noise. And white noise is this thing that seems to permeate American society in general, and something that Americans tell me that they can't do without when they go to bed. And for me, it's the other way around. You know, in Britain, I grew up with just really quiet, peaceful bedrooms, with the exception of my dad snoring in the next room. I sort of got used to that for 26 years. I got used to this sort of just, I don't know, this general silent ambience. Is that even a thing? And then when I moved to America, bear in mind this was in the winter, so it hadn't yet happened yet, but by the time the summer started to heat up, we were putting on the air conditioning units, right? And of course, famously, we still haven't come around to that idea in the UK. It just became this thing. It sort of happened to me that as soon
I ouch. I really, really, really wish I had a calm bedroom. Like when I move one day, my bedroom is going to be like so pacific. I am so excited for that. But right now, I have like my computer set up here. I have a TV over there on the other side, and there is a bunch of like lights and lamps, and like everything is in this one room. So, like, I have a lot of white noise in my room, a lot of it, and it annoys me at night. Also, like, I wish that it was like completely pitch black dark. That would be the dream, but it's just not a thing. But we have a lot of white noise. Even if I like turn off everything, you can still hear the electricity, you know? So, but I don't know, even if I moved to a bigger house, I think I'd still maybe have my setup in the bedroom. Or I don't know. I don't know. Never lived in a bigger house, so how would I know?
as I moved here, without realizing it, was falling asleep to white noise. And I think after about a year of that, it sort of clicked that this isn't how things used to be. So in America, every autumn, it takes me right back to me childhood. briefly because then the winter turns up and you have to have a fan on in the bedroom because the heating is too hot. It's like a catch-22. But while I was laying there awake at night and before I fell asleep next to this tree, I had some thoughts about some of the other sounds that I commonly hear in the United States that I would never have heard in England. And if you listen carefully, you can probably hear one of those sounds right now. Hear that? That is, well, North American bird species, most likely anyway, because in the UK, the bird that you would hear most commonly is a wood pigeon, because it makes that really distinctive sound all across most of Europe, I think. And it just goes, whoop, 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 whoop. I realise I'm making bird sounds in public. Here, you don't really hear that sound very often because wood pigeons aren't native to North America. And instead, you'll hear the sounds of many birds. I mean, here in the Midwest, you've got cardinals, you've got the red-winged blackbird, you've got mourning doves, which of course comprise about 33% of my own family. And so the general bird ambience differs greatly between Britain and the United States. And of course, America, being the giant country that it is, boasts a stupid amount of birds. And
I think birds sound different everywhere though. Like here in Spain, we have parrots and we have like, obviously there's seagulls, but I think the seagulls here sound different than in Finland. Like I'm nearly convinced that seagulls have their own language depending on the country they're in, because here they don't sound anything like they sound in Finland. I mean, it's pretty much the same, but they have a little accent to them. So maybe, I don't know, maybe they speak with a Spanish accent. But in Finland, you have a lot of birds. That's like one of my favorite things to do when I was a child at our summer cabin was to look for birds, and we would have like the bird books too. Well, apart from like, I don't know, Finland is like like so in tune with nature. That's like what I most love about it. Especially at the summer cabin, you can like check out birds. You have the birds that like knock on wood. I don't know what that's called in English, but like those were always fun to like see. And there's just a bunch of different birds. There are also birds that like go underwater in the lake to fish. Kuikka is in Finnish, the bird's name, but I don't know. I don't think we have them in Spain either. And then, I don't know. Oh, now I'm starting to miss Finland so much. I want to go there next summer again. And it's summertime in Finland. It's just magic, literally.
an amount of stupid birds, but that's every country. And, the noise or the sound, the ambience that they produce differs immensely depending on where you are in the country. So I can only speak for here. I've seen a cardinal sitting outside of my house on a telephone wire dropping a massive but all the time chatting. So if you are the sort of person who's really into birds, which is all English people once they pass the age of 40, then if you move to America, get yourself a bird book. Do those things still, I don't know if they exist, but look it up on the internet, which birds are in your local area. And then
That is what I was looking. Yeah, I had a bird book. I also had a mushroom book. Well, in Finland, you kind of have to because it's very typical for you to go to the forest and pick up mushrooms and then eat them. And some of them are venomous, so you should always bring a mushroom book with you. I mean, not anymore. You can look it up on the internet, I guess, but it's way more fun to look it up on a book than on the internet.
And what about the sound that you hear at a zebra crossing / crosswalk? Again, those differ all throughout the United States. Where I live, you hear things like, the crosswalk sign is on. The crosswalk sign is on. And we get the picture, mate. And I've been to places here where it almost sounds like a machine gun, like, right, which really makes you want to run across the road, so at least it gets its job done efficiently. But it is mildly terrifying. In Britain, I can't really remember how it goes. It's something like beep, 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 beep. Probably making that up. Producers, can we look up what it sounds like in Britain? Over the last 2 years, one sound that I've heard commonly here in Chicago.
I honestly think that here where I live, we don't have a sound for that. Like, we should, because if someone's, for example, blind, they should be able to hear. But I honestly don't think that there's a sound in most of them. I might be wrong, but I think there's not. In Finland, definitely. But here, I don't think so.
Is my cat. But also tornado sirens. Tornado sirens go off when we're put into a tornado warning, and that's when we have to go down to our basement, get away from all of the windows, and just sort of stay put until the local authorities tell us that we can leave. In fact, my cat is well drilled in this by now. And you might be thinking, ooh, Lawrence, why are you including tornado sirens and not tornadoes themselves? And the reason is simple, because while tornadoes might be devastating when they do in fact strike, Americans are likely going to hear more tornado sirens in their life than they are tornadoes. And come to that, Britain isn't itself without the odd twister, and I'm not just referring to the sweaty board game. As a matter of fact, England experiences more tornadoes per square mile than any other country on Earth. It's just that none of them are strong enough to feature in films with Helen Hunt. So they very rarely cause fatalities. I promise I am happy about that. This is just my default face. But the tornado siren is most certainly something I'd never heard until I moved to the United States, although that's not entirely true. Because in Britain we do have such sirens, and they were once used for alerting us to air raids, and nowadays to another weather phenomenon, floods. But I can tell you unequivocally that nothing prepared me this year for the moment when I was just standing in a wooded area with my wife, and all of a sudden, that's not a plane in a heavy wind, that is the siren.
How do they make the sirens go like be so loud though? Because I've heard it here too once, because there was a flood here, I think last year, and nobody was told. They knew that it was coming, but like no, they were like, maybe not, and nobody was told. So like a whole city got flooded, and then we have a lot of floods here too. Not as bad as the one that was last year, but then after that, the next time that it rained, we had a siren go off in the city, and yeah, it pretty much sounded like that. And then we also like you get the phone alert thing, and that had never happened to me here, so it was kind of like, whoa, what's going on? And then it was just a little bit of rain, and but I think they just wanted to show off that like we know what we're doing, and when they clearly did not. But yeah, it was a very like rough time for the people that lost their houses and everything to the floods. And also I think that it took a lot of time for people to get help and everything, because I don't know how Spain operates honestly, but
my impersonation of it, and it was deafening. It was deafening. I genuinely thought the Germans were coming until I looked at my calendar, realised it was an invisible watch, and that it wasn't the 1940s. So perspective is everything. I mean, it's always nice when you can just sit there and say, thank goodness it's just a tornado. Anyway, normally when we're hankering down in that shelter, otherwise known as the basement, you do find yourself morbidly listening out for that whoosh sound, right? Or at least I do. But most of the time, all you're left with is crickets. Not literally, that would be weird. Although it does bring me on to another point, crickets. I'm not talking about the sport. Of course, we hear that all the time in the English summer, not so much here. But crickets, the insect. I've talked about these before, of course. The sound that they make is very prominent on this side of the ocean. In Britain, we don't have that ambience, and it's a blooming shame, because it's a very relaxing sound. I've never really articulated that before. I've talked about crickets on this channel in the past, but it's a sound that I can actually sit there in the park listening to crickets, which is weird because this is insects mating, or at least sending out a mating call. And I'm there casually listening in on it. Imagine if it was humans and I was doing that. It seems like we have alternative rules when it comes to other members of the animal kingdom.
Oh no. He just messed up crickets for me. We have that here in Spain. Like in the summertime, you can hear crickets. And it's like, it's very peaceful. Like, I really like it when they start doing their, like, the sounds. For me, it's like, okay, summer is coming. Especially at night. It's just, I don't know, it's peaceful. But that kind of, like, ruined crickets for me now. Okay.
I'm not complaining, don't get me wrong. I don't want to do that to Humans who should keep themselves to themselves. So those are just some of the sounds that I thought of when I woke up next to that tree this morning. And Mum, if you are watching, I didn't really wake up next to a tree. It's just for the narrative of this video. It's a weird narrative. That's it for this episode. Let me know in the comments below some of the sounds that you hear on a daily basis that you don't think other people will hear in other parts of the world. I'm Lawrence Brown. You can follow me on Twitter at LostInThePondUS, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel so that I don't have to. One sound that my patrons hear every week is the secret sound of my voice on our secret live streams. If you would like to become a patron of Lost in the Pond, you can do so today at patreon.com/lostinthepond. Until the next video, goodbye.
Goodbye. A lot of you guys have been asking if I have Patreon. See, I'm so new to this, like everything, because I just started this channel, and I don't even like I don't know what's going on, basically. So I have no idea what Patreon is. I'm going to eventually probably make one because apparently it's something that, is very typical to make. I will need some time to figure out everything. And also like the second channel, like the movie channel, I'm planning to move hopefully as soon as I can, and then I'm going to make like an actual studio for us and like a better setup for me to do this, and also then would be the time to open up a movie reaction channel probably when I kind of figure out what I'm doing first, because this is all very new to me. So I am very grateful for all of your support and patience because I am quite new to this. And yeah, but thank you for joining me for this video. Let me know what sounds. Let me know what sounds are home to you, and please like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.